up.
Millions of viewers now from all over the world are logging on to view their short films and video projects.
I mean, when I say that these kids were getting millions of views, it's millions of views back in the early days, the early 2000s of YouTube. They were number one.
Their Pokemon video, the second most watched clip on YouTube.com, more than 15 million views.
They were just doing this for fun, and now they're pretty much famous. They start putting a lot more effort into their videos and doing comedy skits. They're having full-on productions, and it's just the two of them, Ian and Anthony. The two dudes are extremely successful. If you look back in the day, you're gonna see paparazzi photos of them walking down the red carpet, people screaming, crying, oh my God, it's Ian and Anthony. Personally, what I love about their dynamic is Anthony was really like the researcher, like a big creative brain to make stuff happen. And he came together with Ian and they had ideas together that could only come from the two of them. They had spent a lot of time together. They were really, really comfortable together. And they eventually kind of melded into the same sense of humor. But the other thing that I love so much about this pairing early is, like I said before, Anthony was a really anxious person. And I'm gonna use my own personal experience here, but maybe some of you guys can relate. When you're anxious or you feel like you haven't quite found your confidence in the world, sometimes you have these really big ideas and they're awesome. And then suddenly you're like, that's a horrible idea. Never mind. I'm so stupid. I can't do this. Let me just stop. I'll just stop. Now imagine you're a creative like Anthony and you have these really fun ideas, but you almost back out of everything every time. But there's this one guy who's literally your best friend who just shows up every day and it's like, hey dude, what are we doing? It stops your anxiety in its tracks when you have a good friend, a person that you trust that comes in and says, wait, this is a good idea. What are you talking about? Like, you know what I mean? Y'all anxious people know when your ideas are just swirling in your head and then like suddenly the self-loathing comes and then the stress and then the fear of failure. And then somebody just comes up and is like, hey dude, what are we doing today? Like, bro, everybody needs an Ian. Like any creative, anxious person needs an Ian. There are so many ideas that were put forth because their brains came together, but also because Ian was such a fucking ride or die. So while they're blowing up, this company creeps in and they tell Ian and Anthony, like, you guys are doing a lot. We're actually entertainment experts and we can help take all of this to the next level. We're going to give you directors, we're going to give you writers, we're going to help you book all of this stuff. We'll be able to take some of the load off your hands, less administrative decisions. This is going to be really good for you.
Foreshadowing is a literary device in which...
And these are the early days of digital. There's no rules. There's no understanding of how long someone's success is going to go on or how far they could go. And here's this company telling these two dudes, like, we can make you a star forever. We can make your business into something that you wouldn't be able to do by yourself. We're going to give you guys a whole bunch of stock in the company. We're going to grow this thing into a massive network. And then we're going to go public and you're going to be able to cash that out for, we can't even tell you how much money it's going to be. I feel like some people debate if this company, it was called Defy Media, had good intentions and they lied to Ian and Anthony, or if they had a mission that they really planned to do and they failed. In my opinion, they lied. They lied and they knew that these two boys were already famous. They had a huge audience behind them and they knew that they could scam them. They built up this trust. They used all this sweet talk. They flashed this money in their face after years of them taking on an enormous amount of creative and production responsibility. This company came in and offered to take a little bit of the load off of their shoulders, make them millionaires, and make their career easy. There's an old African proverb and it says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And many people reach this point in their career where they decide, I'm tired and I'm stuck. I do need help. And here's Defy Media saying that they're going to make it all possible. Yeah. Ian and Anthony were then signed on as employees of Defy Media. They were given stock in the company as well as a really nice salary. And off we went to the races. Next, the company starts adding more people because essentially they can expand this way while taking some of the load off of Ian and Anthony, and they still have a lot of creative control. This probably really helped Ian and Anthony take a little bit of a load off while they're expanding everything. But I mean, people were used to seeing Ian and Anthony for like 10 years on the channel. So when all these new people come in, they're like, whoa, what is this? Now they add in SMOSH Games, a whole other cast of people. There I am, Gary, there I am. But you know, slowly the audience gets into it and SMOSH becomes one big family. And the views on SMOSH go up. Defy Media is doing what they said that they would do. They created Smosh Pits, Smosh Games, Smosh, Shut Up Cartoons. They expand into all of these other things. I mean, they even made like a mini TV show for them called Part-Timers. But with all of this expansion, Ian and Anthony were sort of pushed out of certain decisions. Either they didn't really have a say at all, or they weren't being told about certain things that were happening on the channel. At one point, I think this is super messed up. This really just kind of like shows what Defy's goal was. Money. Wonga! They see another YouTuber creating a Kickstarter for a game that they were making, and they go to Ian and Anthony and they're like, hey, you guys should crowdsource a bunch of money from your fans so that we can make this video game and we can profit off of it. This turns into one of those decisions where Ian and Anthony, and bro, especially Anthony, that man has a big heart. He has a big heart. Every bad decision at Smosh just ripped into him personally, okay? So the pair's back is kind of up against the wall because even though they created this thing, it has slowly become not theirs. And the man is looking them in the face and saying, why don't you go take some money from your fans and go put this game out? So they do the Kickstarter, but as the game is being developed, because they were raising money before they'd even developed the game, Defy Media was, Anthony has to go in and he's trying to fix certain things so that this product is good because he really cares what the fans think. Obviously, like this is his audience that he's cultivated since he was a teenager. And ultimately, he didn't even make $1 off of that game. Where did the money go? So there's a lot of strange decisions that Defy Media is making there. They're getting a lot of viewership. They're getting all this money from investors. Ian and Anthony's salaries are still exactly the same. The company hasn't gone public yet, and they're just slowly taking everything away from them, while making bad decisions on top of it, while Ian and Anthony are still the face of the company. Now, this is where I come in. So back in Virginia, I'm sitting on my computer streaming on Twitch back in like 2015, 2016. I would just play League of Legends all the time, okay? Sometimes a little bit of Grand Theft Auto. And I'm streaming, I'm doing my thing. And at the time, I had a lot of like really crazy people on Twitch that were always trying to do inappropriate stuff, trying to get my information, all this stuff. And so I get to the point where I have to keep working, but I have to tune out some things because I don't know how else to explain it. These people kept trying to scam me, okay? So one day I'm playing Grand Theft Auto and this man comes into my chat. This is a true story. And he's like, hello, Bose. I have been trying to contact you for the past few weeks. Please, please, please check your email, or do you have an alternate email that I can reach out to you on? And I'm sitting here playing Grand Theft Auto and I'm like, great. The scammers are back. It's funny. I think I like banned him from the channel or something. So this man, his name turns out to be Michael. He emails me again. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, what is this? Let me just give it a shot. So I end up setting a call with him, and I will never forget standing in my mother's bedroom in Virginia. I was living with my parents at the time. And looking at my phone, and I'm getting a call from, it said Beverly Hills, California. And I'm sitting here saying, Beverly Hills, California. Man, I'm like, how did they do this? They must have spoofed the number. And I'm ready to go in on this fool. And I'm like, hello? And he sounds very professional. Sounds like a real person. So he tells me that he's casting for this thing called SMOSH Games, and he would love to talk to me and see if I'm interested. And I start to believe the phone call at this point. And he's like, well, basically, one of the big things that I need to ask you before we continue these conversations are, would you be willing to move out to Los Angeles to work this job? And I'm like, would I be willing to move to Los Angeles and play video games on a salary? I go through a series of auditions. They ultimately end up flying me out to Los Angeles to kind of test run things. I'm sure a lot of you guys can understand from my point of view. I'm just a kid playing video games literally in their parents' basement in Virginia. This is a dream to me. In fact, at the time, I don't think I realized how big of a deal it was, but looking back on it, it's really, really surreal. And I was honestly blessed with such an opportunity. So when I was there, I'm new, so I don't have a lot of information into the backstory of things. But when I was there, I remember seeing Anthony, and he was always thinking a lot. He always seemed very, very pensive because unbeknownst to me, they were preparing for him to leave Smosh. At this point, Anthony's trust in Defy Media has been completely shattered. I don't want to speculate about the conversations that Ian and Anthony were having behind the scenes, but Ultimately, there was a mismatch, and Anthony felt